Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse. Now, thousands of years from now, archaeologists and anthropologists, they're going to dig us out of here. What are they going to find? All of these venues, these places for people to get together. All of these devices, bring up all this software to get together. And they're going to scratch their heads and say, wow, this ancient civilization, so gregarious. This is a mystery we may never solve. But you know and I know that it's any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse to get the gang together. How about it? Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse. Sing it with me now. Here we go. Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse to get the gang together. Any excuse.
Woo!
All right. Here we go. Yeah, when you wish upon a star, dream will take you very far. When you wish upon a dream, life ain't always what it seems. On the water clear, in the sky so very dear. Here we go now. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. Shining bright to see what you can truly be. Yeah, a shining star, no matter who you are. Shining bright to see what you can truly be. Yeah, shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see. Have I run everybody off? Are you still out there?
We're here.
All right, super. See, I'm gonna do a Nora Jones tune. You guys can sort of talk and conversate in the background if you want to and visit. Unless my signal's too loud. Is my signal too loud to be able to say anything?
No, you're good.
Okay.
So we've got about 9 other people so far.
Now, who am I talking to right now?
This is Margaret Teal. I'm the foundation director at the college.
Oh, okay, Margaret. Yeah, I remember meeting you. Yeah, you doing well?
Just fine. How about you?
Doing well, yeah. Here we go. We'll try another tune. Waited till I saw the sun. Don't know why I didn't come. Left you by the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come. Don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, wished that I could fly away. Instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops in my hand. My heart is drenched in wine. Ooh, you'll be on my mind forever. run. Don't know why I didn't come. Feeling simple as a drum. Don't know why I didn't come. Don't know why I didn't come. Don't know why I didn't come. All righty. Is everybody queuing up out there?
Yeah, we're adding them by the minute.
Super. Got picture and sound. Yay.
Yes.
Push the right buttons now, youngins. All right. Let's do the hand job. I know a cat named Way Out William. Got a cute chick, her name's Rockin' Billy. How about that now? Walking, strolling, Susan too. Yeah, does she do that crazy hand jive too? Mama, look at Uncle Joe. They're doing the hand jive with Sister Flo. Mama gave baby sister a dime if she did that hand jive one more time. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, do the hand jive. Dr. Lawyer and Indian Chief, woo. They all dig that funky beat. Way Out Will he gave quite a treat when they do that hand jive with his feet. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive.
Woo!
All right, woo-hoo! Yeah, they said the neon lights are bright on Broadway. They say there's always magic in the air. When you're walking down the street, you ain't had enough to read. To get the rub right off and go nowhere. Seven women treat you right at the Gateway celebration. Looking at them just gives me the thrill. But how you gonna make some time when all you got is one thin dime? One thin dime won't even shine your shoes. On Broadway.
Yay, thank you, Jesse. Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to.
Thank you.
pleasure.
It was fantastic.
People know better than to ask me to play because I'll do it.
That was great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I heard your meeting was canceled. So if you want to play some more at the end, you can too. So
Okay. Yeah. You know
We'll
better
just-
than to ask. I'll do it. That sounds good. Yes.
we'll see how
Good
it
to hear y'all
goes.
there.
Great. Oh, it is so exciting to see everybody tonight at our virtual celebration, to hear your voices. I'm just so excited about it. We are delighted to have you with us for our celebration of Gateways 2020. I'm the ringleader, circus master, something this evening, but also being I'm very grateful to be helped by Margaret, who is showing up as Mayland Community College that you'll see.
Hey guys.
So she's going to be able to control some things. She's going to be helping with the muting so that we don't talk over each other and all that kind of thing, which is nice, and letting folks into the meeting. If people are joining us, they will automatically be muted that way. So if someone is reading at that time, or so it's just not too chaotic, we'll let folks do that. But you can chat the whole time. We have the chat feature set up there. So you're welcome to offer a comment or a thought there as we're going along. And then, as I said, I was just inviting Jesse to stick around and play for us, maybe some at the end, and we can just chat and converse casually. I know everybody's kind of starved for interaction, so that's always a nice thing to do. We'd love to have you do that. I'm just delighted that everybody's here. There are so many things that have been very different this year, but I am very, very grateful that we're still able to have gateways. We have had many things that we didn't get to do this year. Ironically, I just told somebody in January last year, about a year ago, I was telling somebody that the two things that I loved most doing at Mayland were the Spooktacular and gateways. Well, we didn't get to do the Spooktacular this year. I was really disappointed with that. Those are my two fun things. But Gateway still happened, and it happened because of all of you. So we are grateful
because of you.
with us, and we just I wish I could hug you. I'm just giving you this kind of hug because we're all so far apart, but we're all together, and you're all together in Gateways, which is great. I'm thrilled to see so many of our contributors and so many of our guests with us tonight. We also have a very special guest, Dr. Boyd, who is going to welcome folks here as well. This Gateways was Dr. Boyd's dream, and I'm so honored that he asked me to be part of it. It's just been an honor and a thrill. I love working on Gateways, and Dr. Boyd didn't know what he was asking. And Jesse was saying, you don't know what you're asking. You ask me to play. Well, you don't know what you're asking. You asked me to work on a creative arts journal. I have had a wonderful time with it. Continue to love it. It's just a joy. And Dr. Boyd is with us this evening. So I'm going to turn it over to him for just a moment.
Dr. Boyd, you're muted.
Okay, well, I was just about done. No, but I can't thank you enough, Elizabeth, of all you've done. This, while the thought came to you on it, you're really the one that made it what it is, and have done such an incredible job. You and the team that helps to edit and proofread and everything, and so it is just an example of excellence that we try to portray here at Mayland Community College. And while we usually do this in person, and we have all the snacks and everything available, tonight I just have all the snacks here with me, and I guess I'll just have to eat everything myself. So, but we appreciate everybody putting in and submitting to this and writing for it and taking photographs for it. It's such a nice combination of different material. And Elizabeth has done an amazing job of intermixing that material to make something that is really nice. And I just love the cover of this one with the owl on it. It takes me back to when I was in high school, and I raised a great horned owl, and at the house. At least he stayed at the house until he started flying over the kitchen table, and then Mom said no more. and we had to take him up to the barn, and then eventually released him. But I've always loved the owls, and that picture is incredible. But thank every one of you for your submissions that you've done, for all your hard work and efforts in making this truly a literary journal that the whole community can be proud of. So thank you, and hopefully next year we can do this in person.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from London. So I'm so delighted that you could be here with us. And Isabel and I have, we actually brought a stuffed owl. You want to give me one of my, you've got the owl. Hand me, there you go. Go ahead and hand me one of the, no, this year. Oh, there you go. Thank you. I have them displayed artistically there, so I had to get one there. Yes, and I think everybody has your copy or multiple copies. And I understand we have some more at the front desk. So if you need more, Dr. Boyd has always been so for just to me, it is visionary that we don't charge for Gateways. Gateways is our beautiful card that we give to the world. We have delightful folks that help support Gateways. We're very grateful, especially for the Palmers, for their help in making Gateways a reality, and all of our contributors and donors. But it's been really exciting. I love that this owl, and Patty's here, our owl photographer. When we came up with the theme of vision, when I first had the idea of it, I mean, I was just being cute. It was 2020, vision. That's smart. A lot of us have to think about that a lot. So I was just being a smart aleck. I didn't realize that it'd be prophetic that 2020 was going to be something that we needed a vision. We needed some visions in order to get us through 2020. And that owl's just he's been wonderful. Owls are one of Isabella's favorite things. And so it's been an interesting year for Isabella. So we've loved having that owl kind of being kind of our focus for us. He's been great. And then we have our hummingbird in the back. So we have this neat duality there that's just wonderful. But with our theme of vision, as always, our contributors just astound me. They just amaze me with what they come up with. I never know what we're going to get. There was a great book that my mom used to read to me when I was a kid called Sloth's Birthday Party. It was this great kids book about this poor sloth who had a very untidy house and was always wanting company that he couldn't get. And he had soup that was sort of always cooking. And he said it's the same soup every time, but it tastes different because it depends on what's fallen in. And I think that sometimes some of my recipes are like that. And Gateways is always like that, but in a wonderful way. You just don't know what's going to fall in every year. I just never know what we're going to get. And it's always wonderful. I can always count on it being beautiful because of our contributors. Those of you who are with us, those of you who are our supporters, thank you, because we can't have Gateways without you. There's nothing there. And I'm always thrilled to just look through and see. And it almost is like a puzzle. There's a beautiful poem in here about stone carving, and putting together Gateways is kind of like that. It's already there. All the pieces are there. It's just, we just have to play with them until there's the vision. There it appears before us. And this year, because of all the strangeness that we've all encountered, we extended our deadline a little, also to allow people who were experiencing some interesting things that they wanted to document with art. And so we allowed those folks to have a little more time in order to contribute something. And that's some of the pieces that you're going to be hearing tonight. We have several of our contributors who are going to read. Many of our contributors are here, and I love seeing everybody. It's really wonderful. I miss you. I miss seeing all of you in person. Now I know Dr. Boyd has all the snacks. Now I know where all the spectacular candy went. So Dr. Boyd kept the candy. I have a little cauldron of candy that I keep in my office, and it's so lonely, because I don't have students coming in there to get candy all the time. But we have several of our contributors tonight who are going to read, which is delightful and exciting, and I can't wait to hear each of you. We're going to start with Diana White, whose piece Vision is very appropriate. And if you have your copies, you can, of course, follow along and look in Gateways, or you can just enjoy listening to each of our wonderful readers. But we're going to go ahead and start with Diana. So we'll take her off the mute and get her started and get her to read Vision for us.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. This is really an honor to be asked to read. Vision. We all want to see clearly. Often, to get to this point, we have operations or other treatments to improve our sense of sight. As we get older, sometimes we wear glasses. All of these methods are helpful in letting us clearly see the world around us. This is vision at the most basic level. We see the world, our families and friends, our books, and our computer screens. We live our lives knowing what is around us and being able to interact with it. Sometimes what we see is beautiful and life-giving, and we give thanks for the ability to participate fully in life. At other times, what we see is unsettling and scary, and we try to turn our attention from what is before us. At times like this, we change our focus from the reality of what we are seeing to our thoughts or imagination, to a hope or a vision that we have made that brings beauty to our life. We are all living in a terrifying time right now. In some ways, our world looks the same. We look outside and see flowers blooming, bright sunshine, and trees full of green leaves standing regally as they always have. Our vision takes in the scene and says it is good. But we know down deep that our world is not the same. The uncertainty of the future fills us with dread. It is at times like this that we need to close our eyes and fill our hearts and minds with a vision of the future that is full of hope and health. Then, with time and patience, our inner vision will become what we see all around us.
Thank you so much. I love getting to hear the voices of our contributors, and we can do rounds of applause or whatever waving. It's fun. I'm teaching a lot online these days, and exclusively. That's the only way I see my students. So it's interesting all the different ways that we all have to show feelings and emotions, and we can do things. Thank you so much, Anna. It's just beautiful. And that the minute that I saw that, I thought that's going to be at the beginning, and so that's definitely where we put that. That was just perfect. It just sets the stage so beautifully for this edition. And as Diana's beautiful words point out to us, yes, this is a different sort of time. Things are different. But I'm delighted by some of the just wonderful serendipitous kinds of things that appeared throughout this process. And that is the subject of Cindy Matthews' wonderful piece that she's done. And it paired up so beautifully with the photograph of the bowls. Because it's really neat that Ken Miller took up, he says he makes shavings, but then sometimes bowls turn out too. So it just turned out so beautifully. So many people have taken up new art forms, have learned all different kinds of things during this time. So I like this piece because it celebrates that it's not just the kind of the inconvenience or the things we miss, but certainly some really beautiful things that happen too. So Cindy, please.
Okay, I will. And it's fun to see my writing group people like actually, not just in email, but actually pictures of their faces. So the surprising and lovely things that can happen in a pandemic. Having contact with others is the very nature of existence for my husband and me. We entertain a lot, go to dinner and art exhibitions with friends, play group mahjong, hang out at the community pool. How do we maintain contacts with friends and our sanity during stay safe, stay home? Enter Zoom, FaceTime cocktails, and social distancing gatherings. We're all concerned about the pandemic, and I am extra cautious given I visit with mask on my 93-year-old mom. But we can have contact while not breathing the same air. Every Monday, we play virtual mahjong with friends. I haven't seen them in weeks, but I hear their voices on the speakerphone as we play on the computer. My book club meets via Zoom, where we still forego talk about the book for chatting about our lives. FaceTime happy hour with a friend who just lost his wife to cancer. Sunday night Zoom dinners with my family, writing group via email, social distancing by the pool with a small group of neighbors. I hug my husband and say, "This one's for you, Camille, since I can't hug her." And the food exchanges. My husband cooks fancy stuff like pistachio shortbreads and egg custard tarts. Delicious, but most must go to neighbors. Barbara shared her freshly made dolmas. Caroline baked chicken enchiladas, and Judy makes the best banana nut bread. We share new cocktail inventions via texted photos and boxes of produce bought from a restaurant supplier. All goodies are left on the front porch with hands washed after retrieving. When we look back on the spring of 2020, I think we will remember not just the scary concerns for our lives and the sadness for those who died. Rather, we will remember the special and kind ways friends reached out and we stayed in contact without touching.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy. And how is your mom?
My mom is great. She got her vaccine yesterday, so we're very happy.
Yay. Fantastic. I am so glad. I meant to ask you before because I loved that idea about touching, because so much of what is in Gateways is touching without touching. And so I loved that this year. And in fact, as we have that beautiful piece at the beginning, that Diana's vision there, the end of Gateways this year has one of the most touching pieces we've ever had, which is from sort of our voice from beyond, our contributor who left us, at least left the earth this year, Alyssa, her beautiful poem there at the end. And I think that is just what Gateways is all about. And this year, especially with pieces like Cindy's, we have these little snippets of time, something that we enjoy each year. Gateways is an artifact. And I love the fact that each year we have contributors. Many of our contributors from the last several years are no longer with us on the earth. They're still with us. They're with us here in Gateways. And that is a historic artifact. That's something that people will continue to come back to. So even as we have these pieces that our grandchildren may read and go, gosh, they were doing what? What were they doing during the pandemic? What? At the same time, we're able to preserve something really beautiful from our lives. So thank you so much, Cindy, for that great reminder of that. And the next reading that we have, and I put these in order on purpose. We have one that is Arlene. Arlene always makes me cry, but always in a good way. And I asked her specifically to read Shopping for Homeless. Arlene Mandel has just this. Her short stories just always capture these little moments so succinctly and so brilliantly, and they just have such power to them. And I specifically asked for this one because it's such a vision of the past, and it preserves this moment so beautifully, and these people and that's one of the things I love about the stories when people write about their families, is these are people we will never get to meet. Not even on Zoom. And if they were like my grandparents, they couldn't have figured out Zoom even if they were here right now anyway. They have, but we get to meet them. I mean, I would know these people if they walked up to me on the street, and I would love them because of the way that Arlene brings them to us. So Arlene is going to share Shopping for Homeless, which is just a great preservation of history for us and a vision of the past.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you for that, Elizabeth. You touch my heart every time. And I just like to congratulate Isabella. I saw the article about you in Carolina Mountain Life. I was so thrilled. I saved it for whenever I see you again. I'd like you to sign it. Shopping for Homeless. Way back when she lived in New York City, my mother, as a young girl, went once a week with Grandma Molly to the huge farmers market at 137th Street in the Bronx. Dozens of pushcart vendors lined the streets offering goods. Hundreds of people milled back and forth looking for bargains. The two of them went to get sauerkraut and pickles to go with Grandma's traditional Friday night dinner of steaming hot soup filled with homemade noodles, carrots, and succulent pieces of chicken. As a special treat, Grandma bought tiny Kirby cucumbers my mother loved to nibble and crunch on the way home. They had a large shopping bag with 2 handles. Grandma bought every fruit and vegetable that could be stuffed into it. They had to drag the heavy, cumbersome bag all the way home over long city blocks, each of them holding 1 handle. From time to time, on the way back from market, Grandma deliberately walked through the area where she knew she'd find homeless men on the corner of Fordham Road and Jerome Avenue, away from shops and homes. Men who had fallen on hard times lingered there all day, hoping for handouts. Grandma would pick out the neediest looking man, someone with no coat or jacket or worn out shoes, and invite him to come home with her for a meal. This unexpected invitation from a kindly middle-aged woman with a plump little girl in tow and a shopping bag bursting with edibles was never turned down. When they arrived at Grandma's building, adjacent to the elevated train, which is called the EL, the 3 of them trudged up 5 dark flights of narrow stairs to her apartment, which looked out directly onto the train tracks. First, she asked the man to choose whatever he needed from an array of clean, neatly folded clothes salvaged from her husband and teenage son, old overcoats, suits, galoshes, which are rubber boots, even umbrellas. She never threw these things away. They were stashed under the bed for this purpose. Then they went into the small kitchen where Grandma served him a thick sandwich filled with meat or cheese, along with several cups of hot coffee to wash it down. My mother loved to repeat this story, welling up with tears when she described the men saying goodbye and leaving, quote, like little boys in new clothes. With intense emotion coming from memories way down deep, she reminded me every time, quote, I saw this with my very own eyes, end quote. I still hear my mom saying that. When Grandpa Harry arrived home after a long day's work to find out that Grandma had brought another needy soul there, he flew into a rage. Normally a solemn man of few words, he shouted at her, how can you take in a stranger? You could have both been killed. Grandma would not listen. With steely resolve, she gave the same answer every time. I have to do this. I believe this need came from the fact that Grandpa, who was born and grew up in Tsarist Russia and conscripted into the army, managed to escape to America, but would never tell the family about the journey. He did speak intensely with old friends when they came to sit in the living room and sip glasses of hot tea heated in the giant samovar, as was custom in the old country. They spoke in hushed voices, and even then, only in Russian, which no family member could understand. We do know that Grandpa lived for a long time in the city park, surviving on free bagels and peanuts at a local bar, a common practice in those days. Somehow, a relative found him, took Grandpa into his own family, and taught him the tailor's trade, a skill at which Grandpa eventually excelled. This enabled him to make a modest living, as well as clothes for himself, Grandma, and the 3 children, Helen, Frida, and Al, all during their school years. It took hours of labor, trying on, fitting, and pinning, 3 fidgety kids and a fussy wife, then painstakingly working on alterations late into the night. They had to look perfect. Grandma Molly discovered her own aesthetic skills, a knack for creating the popular 1920s hairstyle known as marcelling, characterized by repeated waves made with a heated curling iron. Women from the neighborhood, determined to look fashionable, trekked up the 5 flights of stairs to the small apartment. In spite of kids running around and noisy trains barreling by all day, the wannabe beauties emerged more glamorous than when they came. Having grown up with a tailor and a hairdresser for parents, became important for my mother in her own life to always look stylish, especially in her older years, in spite of being ill and frail. Looking back at the lives of those who came before me, I am moved that the kindness bestowed upon my grandfather was, in turn, continued by my grandmother, who found a unique way to give back. Their destinies had come full circle.
Yay. Thank you so much, Arlene. And you're talking about being able to hear your mother's voice. What I love with our repeat offenders or customers, I love that we have so many gateways contributors who come back, and that just delights me, because not only because I know that I can count on you, I know when I see something come in this is going to be good, we have so many photographers. The photographers are all kind of lurking back there. I see them, but many of our incredible photographers, like photographers do, they create these beautiful images. So I know when I get an email with one of these names, oh, this is going to be good. So it was great with working on gateways this time in particular, because we all sort of are starved for human contact. As I was reading, and this was a really challenging summer for us in more ways than just the pandemic, and so reading your stories and being able to hear your voices and reading your poems and knowing how you sound when you say words, that was just beautiful for me. And it was just this wonderful way for me to connect and hear the voices of the people in your lives. And so I love that each of you did that so beautifully. Our next reader, Karen, KJ Maj, has 2 of her poems that she's going to share with us. And her poems are always just so neat, and they're so thoughtful. And I always have such a good time with the way she puts them on the page, because they look so interesting and they have shape and form. And she also treated us to a photograph this time that goes with one of her poems. So it's just beautiful. And one of the great things, one of the nice side benefits of the way, there's always something good in every circumstance. There are people that we're able to connect with during our reception tonight that we might not normally have been able to. And I know it's always a challenge for you, Karen, to get to be with us. So I'm glad that you're here, and I'm so excited that you're going to read for us.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you? Okay, because it's a miracle I actually got onto Zoom. So I was like, oh my gosh, but it worked out okay. Thank you. And thank you, Elizabeth, for making this happen for all of us. I mean, oh my gosh, you're a miracle worker through 2019, 20, and into now. Thank you. I mean, look at, we can all be connected with our hearts and through you. And Malin, thank you. Quickly too, as Arlene, we were talking about our connection, and I think the spirits of our grandfathers brought us together, because my mother's father was drafted into the Russian army as well. So I think there's a connection there. I'm going to read 2. The first one is Ginsberg's Sutra, which I'll explain it after. I've never read on Zoom before this way, so. Spent the entire day in black and white, just like on the page, with Allen Ginsberg in his apartment in New York City, Berkeley, San Francisco, all at once, even though he's dead, just him and me, poetry all day long, reading, chanting, upon waking, real waking, watched black, white fading into atmosphere, vapor of snuffed out incense stick, most likely sandalwood. Wow, it was really great to see him again. It really was. And I was living in Tucson, Arizona, and battling valley fever, and I had just come out of a very high fever. And so if anyone asks me if that really happened, I'll just say, yeah, it really did. So, and then the other poem I'll read, and thank you, is Boat Paddle In. She stands on the edge of her life, looking out over vastness, possibility. She may be moving on, maybe staying. She just does not know. A foot planted here, planted there, no, there, maybe there. It is enough to make her storm. But she does not. She is strong. She is a tiny raft of reed, graceful in water, current, guiding her where?
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I love working with all of our contributors, and especially poets, because I love looking at the way you put things on the page. And I know how intentional it is, and it's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad we could reproduce your photograph with it. We were concerned about getting it to work, and so it just turned out beautifully. It's just wonderful.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You know, when I took that, I didn't know that reflection was there. I don't know where it came from, but but thank you. And thank you to all the people that did the layout of the pages for those 3 squares, which actually took the main colors of each photograph and put them on the border there by the title. That was brilliant. Thank you.
That's our folks at 25th Hour do that, and they do a nice job. And so it's hard these days because we're emailing back and forth and did this work, and we had this one page we could never get in the right place, and it was really stressful. We finally got it to go where it needed to be, but we just have wonderful folks to work with. Our Malin folks, whether it's Dr. Boyd and his incredible encouragement, or Margaret, who handles things. She's the invisible person today, since she's not on camera, but they're just incredible, and we're so grateful to have such a great team. I never know what we're going to get. I never know how things are going to work out, and I love this really neat theme that we had this time related to space. I'm a big nerd about space, and I loved that we had so many pieces that tied into that. Jesse, in addition to playing great music, is an astronomy nut, and his Stargaze poem is one that I've been asking for a while. Shirley's photographs that accompany that, just incredible. We have these beautiful pictures of the sky, and so I just love how it worked. And so then when Sherry Lovett sent her Geminids poem, I thought, wow, it's just incredible. It is almost like you're saying, like your grandfathers talking to each other. These just beautiful serendipitous moments that happen with Gateways every time. So our last reader is going to be Sherry reading from Geminids for us, which is really neat.
Yay, thank you. It's so great to be a part of this. I love it so much. Okay, Geminids. We stand on stone steps just outside our little mountain house, under the cover of a dark night sky, littered with the lights of heaven, wrapped in coats and hats and scarves and gloves, but only socks on our feet. We stand waiting for the star shower that was promised. We breathe cold air, huddled together, me leaning back on him, enveloped in his arms. We hear the wind in the distance, like a freight train headed our way. our silence a conversation, our hearts joyful in anticipation of the shared marvel. Seconds stretched out until suddenly there was a streak of light across the ink black sky. I squeal like a child, my delight uncontainable at the vision.
Oh, thank you so much. Just beautiful, wonderful. And it just, and those of you who are not contributors, who are just joining us as guests, who haven't finished reading your copy yet, I hope you've enjoyed kind of seeing the sneak preview. You'll get to read all these poems and short stories and just beautiful pieces of prose as you go back and look at them and look at some of these photographs. And yes, and the little squares are fun. They're just so neat. They tie in the colors. And sometimes I wonder, I think, okay, they got together. And I know that some of our contributors in a book group together and a writing group together, excuse me. And then sometimes I get these photographs and I think they did this on purpose. They got together and they planned this. But sometimes so we had all these great moon pictures. So it's just incredible. And I hope that when things are going up at the Earth to Sky Park again, we have some neat things that we'd like to do up there. And I'm hoping that our astronomical poetry and artwork and things that will get some of that to be on display or shared up there, because it's just a beautiful place for it. And our planetarium is going to happen. It's in process. We're really excited about that. There are just so many wonderful things. And that's why our theme for next year is looking up. And when I began to see how many of these pieces we're getting, even as the pandemic was definitely happening, and I was getting all these really positive ideas from poems and from art, that really showing that we're looking up all the time. And also because I had a funny story about an owl. It's not as cool as Dr. Boyd's story, but Sherry's poem reminded me of that, because when Isabella was an infant, my husband and son and I we were lying out on the deck watching a meteor shower in the summer, and it was just wonderful. And we were watching the meteors, and we were swooped by an owl. So we're lying flat on our backs, and this owl came literally just within inches of our faces. And of course, they're completely silent. So it was just this dark shape. It was the scariest thing, but it was wonderful. And we love owls, but wow. And so that was just I thought, well, you should always be looking up in so many ways, looking up so that you know that there's an enormous predatory bird over you, but also looking up because that's how we can see into something bigger than we are. I love every time we have a launch. I'm a big space nerd. So every time there's a launch, we're all excited and watching the launch. We go out and watch we wave at the space station when Crew Dragon went up, we're waving and calling the astronauts by name, hey, Mom, hey guys, it's really silly. But because looking up really helps us to keep things in perspective. And so as we're going forward into 2021, I am so excited about what we're going to get next. So this is the advertisement. Now that we've had all these wonderful readings, and I know that we have many of our contributors, and we have till 7. We have plenty of time. So we'll leave the call open. Jesse may play some more music. We'll chat. I'm going to refill this coffee. And in my Emily Dickinson mug, I figure Emily Dickinson is very appropriate for when you don't leave the house very much, because she didn't either. And look what she did. So we have all these wonderful ideas about looking up. And I can't wait to see what we're going to get. So I know that many of you already have some ideas. I can't wait to see them. We'll have an official submission form ready really soon, but go ahead and start formulating your ideas and start thinking about what you're going to send our way. Talk to your friends and family and other people that you know. I recruit shamelessly. I begged Jesse for that poem about stargazing for years. And so I was so glad that I got that finally. Said, you need to write something about that. That's just neat. So many of our contributors are people that I've harassed for long periods of time until they finally commit to something. So if you know someone who needs to send us something for Gateways, boy, we'd love to have it. We're really excited about looking up in 2021. And then the next issue after that, our 2022 edition, will be our 10th anniversary. It's a little weird. It's actually 11. It's funny, but it'll be the 10th one. And so it'll be a neat sort of retrospective one that we're really excited about. But I'm so excited that you're all here. I want to thank you for coming this evening. Margaret is actually going to wrap us up here, but before I turn it over to her to finish up, and then we'll just have some casual time, I just want to thank all of you again, all of you who help us to make Gateways possible. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your hearts, most of all, that have allowed us to make something really beautiful and really wonderful. I'm just always overwhelmed by what we get from Gateways. It's always hard when I get things that I can't use, because sometimes we just can't. It was 7,000 words. We can't put that entire chapter of that book in here. Or this painting was this big. We can't reproduce it in Gateways. Sometimes we get where I have, and she's not here, so I won't embarrass her. But one of our photographers, instead of sent me like hundreds of pictures. So I was, I can't use them all. But they were wonderful. It was so hard. She's just like, oh, you choose. So sometimes I'm just overwhelmed by everything that we get, but I love it. I just love seeing everything, and I can't wait to see what you send next year. Thank you again for being part of Gateways 2020. If you need some more, we do have them. As we said, you go get some more and help us spread the word, spread something beautiful, and continue to be part of a beautiful vision of looking up, of looking forward, and of making the world a better place. Thank you, all of you. And Margaret is going to wrap us up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And thank you to everybody so much for contributing. I do want to say there are copies of Gateways, not only at the Spruce Pine campus at the front desk, but also at the Avery and Yancey campus. So if you are closer to one of those places and need a few more copies, feel free to go by and get some, because this is something that we certainly love sharing with the community. If you have friends that you want to give it to, I know people have gone and put them in the little free public lending libraries and parks and things like that. So please just let Elizabeth or I know if you need a stack to distribute around, because we can certainly take care of that for you. And I again just want to thank Elizabeth so much for making this a reality every single year. Her enthusiasm is contagious, and we all get so excited because Elizabeth is so excited. So you're never allowed to stop doing this. You can't quit after 10 years in 2022. And we're just thrilled. It seems like it gets better every single year. I say that, I read it cover to cover and just enjoy it, and how each one is so different. As Elizabeth alluded to, you never know what you're going to get. And it's inspiring. So to know that there's so much talent in our community, both with photographs, with photographers, with poems and essays and short stories, it's incredible. We hear a lot of how this area is known for its crafts and its artists, and you hear a lot less about the talents of literature, and it's here. We have it, and we're so pleased to be able to put this together for you all, for our community, and it represents Mayland so well. And it fits in with our community excellence and opportunity sayings that we put out there all the time. So thank you for contributing. We look forward to seeing what you have to offer next year, and hopefully we'll do this in person, but I'm blown away at how well this worked. So thank you for doing it over Zoom, and for those of you who read, thank you very, very much. And please stick around. I'll leave the meeting open if you all want to chat, or if Jesse wants to play a few more tunes, that would be great. And we are recording this. We're not going to share it wide on Facebook or anything like that, because of, if people have privacy issues and things. But if you would like to have a recording of this, just let Elizabeth or I know, and we can send it to you, so you can share it with your family if you'd like to do that. So have a wonderful evening, and thank you again. And if you do want to chat with each other, just make sure you unmute yourself.
Yeah, we're all here. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.